waiting for. Please welcome the Pelbros Podcast.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for being such a lovely audience. This is me, Ryan DW, as per usual, and my co-host over here on the side.
Yo, James, what up, Pel fans?
Yeah, welcome to Pelbros episode number 13, number 13, lucky number, at least for me, right? Although it's James Harden's number, which, I don't... What's the best word? I'm trying to be advertiser friendly. I don't want to talk shit too much here. Can you give me a word here for James Harden?
You don't really like him?
Yeah, I just don't really like the guy, right? But apart from that, though, number 13 is actually my lucky number. I don't want to get too much into the story. Why? Because, I will maybe in a story time in another episode, but not today. So, welcome back. It's been, almost 2 months since our last episode, right, James?
Yeah, it's been a minute. Haven't recorded an episode in a while. Obviously, there just hasn't been much news. But to be honest, we've been keeping it real on Instagram. At Pelbros,
as per usual.
As well as keeping the content coming through on YouTube.
Yeah, if you guys haven't been seeing the YouTube content, you guys are missing out. We've been dishing out some crazy content. If anything, our videos are getting better each upload, don't you reckon, James?
Yeah, for sure. So putting out some great content on both platforms, Instagram and YouTube. Check it out.
Yeah, Instagram, YouTube, just type in Pelbros, you'll find us, whatever. Even type in Google Pelbros and you will find us. For some reason, I just want to quickly say this. For some reason, when I type in Pelbros on YouTube, do you get that suggested saying Melbros?
I haven't typed it in yet. I gotta check.
Oh right, yeah, but Melbros, I don't know what that is, right? See, I was about to swear there. I don't know what that is, but yeah, that is not us, right? We're Pelbros, so make sure it's Pelbros with a P, like Pelicans. It's very, very easy. Hit us up. We're blowing up on Instagram as per usual, and blowing up on YouTube. I mean, not necessarily blowing up on YouTube, but we're getting better on YouTube. So yeah. Anyways, obviously we are starting this episode up because of the fact that the NBA has somewhat started again. We've got the scrimmages started going on. Just today there was the game versus Denver, and then before that there was the game versus who are those guys again?
Brooklyn Nets.
Brooklyn. Oh yeah, Brooklyn. Or the third rate, the bench of the bench of the bench of Brooklyn. Yeah, and then we got one more game with the Bucks, and then we're gonna get started. But before we even get into all of that, what's been happening around the league, James? What's been going on? It's been 2 months, you know what I mean? All this coronavirus stuff. And, we're trying to get back in, as in not just us, but the entire league is trying to get back into this with this, what did they say? An unprecedented turn of events, I guess, right?
Yeah, so I think the last episode we recorded, we had just heard the news that they were planning on restarting. We just heard out their plan that they rolled out, how all the teams were going to go to the bubble, to Orlando, Disney World to play. And then, like you said, now we've actually got players inside the bubble, and they've been in there for, I think, a week or 2 weeks now, and they've started the scrimmages, like you've said. And obviously there's some news stories and stuff has come out of it. So, yeah, like you said, I think we think that would recap over the past 2 months. Some news stories coming out from the league, as well as the Pels. But obviously, now that we have a bunch of players inside the bubble, inside their hotels, we got to see, what life is like in the bubble. And we had a few players out there tweeting. We have, I don't know if you've seen it, but we have guys like JaVale McGee and Matisse from 76ers actually vlogging their experiences in the bubble.
Yeah. Have you watched that? I've seen it recommended, but I'm yeah, bro, I don't like the Lakers, so I don't click it. Have you watched it?
I've seen parts of it, but I haven't watched the full videos. But it's just a glimpse into kind of the life that they're living in. It actually looks pretty chill. But funnily enough, we did have a bunch of players. Shout out to our boy Rondo, ex Pelicans player.
Yeah,
he actually went on Twitter and started complaining about some of the accommodation, and we've seen some players comment about the food and stuff.
Yeah, bro, I've seen the pictures of the food, man. Yo, if anything, I'm getting better food here, and I ain't even making okay, I am making millions, but I'm not making millions playing NBA.
Yeah, definitely. They have different teams on different, I guess, tiers of hotels. So, higher tier seeded teams are going to be in Grand Destino, which is the 5-star resort, and then obviously teams like the Pelicans and guys like the Suns down at the bottom.
The peasants.
We're in the Yacht Club, which sounds pretty nice, but it's probably your 4-star hotel here. So it's pretty funny seeing some of the guys come out and sort of complain. You kind of have to remember that these guys are millionaires. They're probably living in lavish luxury apartments and mansions. But to be honest, I doubt that this is any worse than their hotels that they go and stay in when they're playing away games.
Yeah,
So,
I was gonna say though, with the food situation, right? That's actually been like a huge controversy because you've seen the food. I mean, like, have you seen like the kind of food like as in I remember like J.R. Smith had a thing about that too.
yeah, there were a few guys that put out Instagram posts about their food, but to be honest, I think when they first entered the bubble, they had showed a lot more of the food because obviously that was their first, first 1 or 2 nights there, and the food
Yeah,
did look pretty bad. But I have heard that.
look really dry, man.
Yeah, I have heard that since then. They've probably got some catering in there. They've probably got some proper standards. But there have also been stories about how someone tweeted that you could get food delivered, and I don't remember which player it was, but then they actually ordered it, and then there was like a potential breach in COVID because they went out and actually collected it from the delivery driver.
I heard about that too. I think like another player, I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was.
He snuck out to get like some mama's cooking and shit like that.
Yeah, you just goes to show that
just better food.
Goes to show that some of these guys, I mean, respect. I mean, they got to do what they got to do.
Yeah,
they probably care about what they put in their body as well. But you can kind of see how pampered up, the life is over there. But I mean, overall, it looks like things in Orlando look pretty sweet. We have seen a bunch of the activities that the guys are getting into.
Golf.
Yeah, so
bowling.
A lot of golfing from the Pels players as well. We've seen bowling. Fishing has been a big thing as well.
Wait. Do they have a fishing place within the bubble?
Yeah, somewhere, I don't know where it is exactly. Somewhere in there, there's definitely water in the Disney World, and
Disney World.
A bunch of guys have been going fishing. So I've seen Jackson Hayes, I've seen Etwan go fishing.
Yeah,
and I bet you some of these activities are probably first time for a bunch of these guys because they're probably busy doing other things. But to be honest, overall, it looks pretty chill. I mean, you have any thoughts on life in the bubble at the moment?
I mean, I guess there was a bowling video recently that looked quite funny. Just if anything, it's just like more so good shit for team chemistry and shit like that, right? In terms of at least when it comes to Pelicans, I haven't really been keeping up to date with anyone else.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it gives an opportunity for the guys to just be normal. And I think I did see there was actually a comment from, I think it was Kemba Walker. He said in a podcast that it's good for the NBA players to kind of act normal and feel normal because they're in this bubble. Whereas in reality, I think what he was saying specifically in the example was in normal times, everywhere LeBron goes, he has like his entourage, right? He's got his bodyguards and stuff.
Yeah.
But in the bubble, you can just see NBA guys walking around without their entourage, without their bodyguards, and it's almost like it's their chance to be kind of normal within this bubble of other guys who are just NBA players. It's not like these other NBA players are gonna run up to LeBron and say, "Can I get your autograph?" and shit like that. So
it just seems like school again, bro. Especially you got the snitch hotline and shit too.
Yeah, that was actually a massive story as well.
Yeah,
there was that whole dobbing players who aren't doing the right thing, and there was some controversy around. Some players didn't want to snitch. There's this whole anti-snitch culture. But at the same time, it's a real health problem, and the
season itself could come to a halt too.
Yeah, exactly, and that actually kind of is funny because it leads into some stories about how, I don't know if you saw it, but guys like, I mean, not guys, but Dwight Howard, refusing to wear a mask and stuff like that, or several occasions where he actually chose not to wear a mask, and he's kind of copping it a bit because he's a bit of a conspiracy theorist and anti-vax kind of
I mean, there's a lot more other kind of things that I could talk shit about, like Dwight Howard, right? Like, as in the mask kind of thing is like the least kind of thing. If I was to if I wanted to have a Dwight Howard roast, the face mask thing would be like the least of my priorities.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's having a crack at his kids, so there's a few.
Wait, he's got kids, you say?
Yeah, he's got a bunch of kids with a bunch of different women. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, cheerleaders, ex-cheerleaders. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously COVID is a massive deal in there, and they're quite strict protocols. There's massive social distancing. There's no fans. It's kind of revolutionized how the game's going at the moment. And I don't know if you saw it in the scrimmages, but you can see now the benches all separated, and they all kind of have to sit apart from each other. So I think it's like probably a 6 feet radius from each other. But there's definitely some protocols that the NBA has thought about at the moment. But in saying that, off the back of that, from Pelicans' perspective, that actually brings up kind of the next, next story or next headline that we had in the past 2 months was the Pelicans, and David Griffin actually came out and said that 3 players had tested positive
Oh,
from
yeah.
the Pelicans, but they never
Yeah.
actually released who those players were. So we don't, to this day, we don't actually know who it was that got COVID, and there's been some speculation, but honestly, we have no idea. It seems like the
Yeah.
whole team is there at the scrimmages at the moment, except
Mhm.
maybe I think Josh Gray was the one that got dropped.
Yeah. So that's what I was trying to say. Like, if anything, I think we were conspiring that it was Frank Jackson, but Frank Jackson's just like playing right now, and he's killing it too with Afro.
Yeah, there's a few guys that turned up later to the bubble. So I know on the first day, I don't think Jalil Okafor, I don't think Frank was there.
Yeah.
There was some speculation it could have been Noor as well, but then he was later seen in some practice videos. So
Yeah.
I think my guess was that maybe they tested positive maybe about a month ago, maybe even 2 months ago, way before this, and it's clearly had no effect because it looks like most of that 16-man roster is actually with the team at the moment.
Yeah, if not all, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then off the back of that, we from a Pelicans perspective, we also signed the new guy.
Oh yeah, what's his name?
Sindarius Thornwell.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna bother trying to say his name. Yeah, I think he used to play in the Clippers a bit or something like that, right?
Yeah, so drafted 3 years ago in 2017.
Yeah.
I think he's struggled to find NBA time or NBA minutes. So I think in his rookie season he had probably around 16 minutes per game. But ever since then he's failed to kind of get minutes on a stable NBA team. I find this signing a bit interesting.
Yeah.
If we were going to sign someone, I would have expected maybe another big man. But Thornwell's
as opposed to a guard. Yeah.
Yeah, Thornwell's kind of a guard, maybe a small forward. He's 6'5". He's known for being good on defense, but we got guys like Kenrich come back from
true,
from injury.
Kenny Hustle.
We got Josh Hart. I don't know how I feel about this signing. I mean, do you have any thoughts on this? It seems like it's almost like not a backward signing, but it feels like a signing that would just take away minutes from others when we don't really need another guard.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's a bit random, I guess, in that case, because what's it called? If anything, I was thinking he was just there to replace Josh Gray, who he himself isn't really getting any minutes. Like, he's not getting any minutes at all, So I don't even know if this guy specifically would get minutes. Come like actual game time. I mean, we're giving him minutes now for scrimmage and stuff like that. Like, we're giving everyone minutes for scrimmage, but so that's the thing. I don't even know. Like, sure, like, we signed him and stuff, but I'm not too sure if we're actually even going to be using him. That's how I see it when it comes to the real league.
Yeah, it seemed like with Darius Miller still being injured, it seemed like it may have been a signing to kind of replace that role. But like I said, Kenrich came back. I don't know what they were really thinking with this signing. I think it would have been better to get a big man because, our rotation is Favors, Zion, Melly, Jackson Hayes. But
I was gonna say Side.
I was gonna say his Instagram.
Yeah.
But and then Jalil Okafor. But honestly, how often we're gonna be playing Okafor? Jackson's still really raw. Let's see. Hopefully it pans out. But like you said, we've only seen him in limited minutes. He's looked alright. He does seem to have a 3-point shot. But like you said, we've pretty much playing the whole team through these scrimmages. I've even seen Zylan Cheathan get minutes. So that speaks volumes, to be honest.
I was gonna say too with that, like, if anything, Kenny Hustle's back, man. That's big news for me because earlier on in this podcast, like, I mean, when this podcast had actually begun, man, like, earlier on in the season, we were giving huge love to Kenny Hustle because very, very underrated piece. Always there, like, his nickname Kenny Hustle. He's there for the hustle plays. Doesn't necessarily show up too much on the stat sheet, but a lot of things he does, like, taking good charge fouls and shit like that. It's I guess what Antonio Daniels was saying. He's always making winning plays, right? And that's what it's all about. So we're making plays and we're making winning plays. So big shout out to Kenrich Williams for coming back on recovering back from his injury. However, the thing is though, bro, is that our team had. But before he got injured though, his impact did kind of suffer a bit. Like, it wasn't as good as in the very, very earlier on in the season. But regardless of all that, I'm trying to say is that since all that, the team has completely evolved. You know what I mean? So I'm not even too sure if it, like, would we really be chucking him in the rotation as much? Because, he was, at one point, he did start a few games for us, earlier on in the season, but he definitely wouldn't be starting now. But would he be seeing, minutes really? I guess would try him out, and then from that see how it goes. What do you reckon?
Yeah, you actually raised a good point. It is interesting. I don't know where he fits in the rotation. So, like you said, he did start for us a few games, and he did seem to play a power forward role, obviously when Zion was injured.
Yeah.
But now that we have Zion back, and then you've got actually Melly playing a lot more minutes just because of his 3-point depth, and our center's not really having a shooting range. It's interesting to see where you'd fit him. It seems like Josh Hart would take priority over minutes. He plays almost 26 minutes a game this season.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see. I don't know where he'd fit in. If you wanted to play a power forward or another big next to Zion, it'd be Favors or it'd be probably Melly. I don't see you can't really play Kenrich next to him. So I think you're right. I don't know where we'd find minutes for him, but he's actually looked pretty good in scrimmages. I've thought his defense hasn't really dropped off or anything. He's still giving us hustle plays. His offense is still a bit shabby. His handle is still not great. His passing isn't amazing, but he's definitely giving us the hustle, like you said, the winning plays that we need.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. So like, I really love the fact that he's back. He's looking healthy, etc., etc. But it's just like, son, like, what I mean, like, it doesn't really make sense for you to like play with us. Like, do we have minutes for you? Do we have a spot for you in the rotation? So if we can both agree on that, I mean, the thing is that I guess we'll just see how it goes, right? We won't know until these games start, man, which will be starting next week.
Yeah. So I think one interesting thing, or one potential opportunity for him is, with Zion actually having to leave the bubble to go attend to some urgent family matters. He's actually coming back, and will need to be quarantined for 4 days straight, I guess. So he's actually going to miss all scrimmages, and I think potentially missed one of the first games, or just come back for the first game.
Yeah,
it's clear that Zion's conditioning might be a bit suspect.
I was gonna say, there's like conflicting reports about all that too. Like, as in there isn't any like clear like, okay, this is 100% the thing. It's kind of like, it's if this is gonna happen or maybe this is gonna happen in terms of Zion's return.
Yeah, so whether he returns for that first game, which is happening on I think it was the 30th in America time zone.
Yeah.
Whether he comes back for that game, and even if he does, like I said, his conditioning won't be 100%. So whether he gets 15, 20, maybe 25 minutes, that could open up some opportunity to give Kenrich some extra minutes there. And obviously we're going to ease a bunch of our other guys in there throughout the rotation. But interestingly enough, there's been a few guys that have had to leave that bubble for urgent family matters. It has seemed. I mean, obviously with the COVID situation still going on in America, it could just be that family members are getting sick. They're having complications or issues. I think Lou Will recently left to attend to some. I think it was uncle's funeral or grandpa's funeral.
See, I saw something else because there was that, but I think there was something about he left the bubble to actually have a party with some guy. I can't remember what the guy's. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. So some guy tweeted that he was also partying, or Lou was out partying.
And then because of that, then like it was some account on Instagram called like, I don't know, like All NBA Riddles or something like that, right? I don't want to be plugging, but yeah, there you go. There's a little shout out to you, mate. He had posted something about it as like a kind of like a joke, right? And then Lou Will had actually commented being like, "Oh, if you're such an expert, where am I then?" or something like that, right? And then after all that had happened, apparently there's the report that Lou Will is getting kind of like sussed out again in terms of like re-quarantining the dates or something like that, right? There's that. And then on top of that, Lou Will actually blocked the guy. So you get what I'm trying to say? So there might be something going on there. He might have actually been going out for a party or something like that. But the thing is that people are making all this fuss, all this drama about it. It's like, oh no, if Lou Will has to, it doesn't really matter, bro, because worst case scenario, even imagine worst case scenario, he misses out on all the seeding games. It doesn't fucking matter. He's still going to be there for the Clippers' like playoffs. Like the Clippers are not going to just drop off out of the playoffs postseason just because Lou Will wasn't, playing minutes during these seeding games, right? He's still definitely going to like if and say in the event of the worst case scenario, which is he can't play for those games, he's still going to be there where it matters in the postseason. So it does not affect the Clippers at all. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny that Lou Will story. So he did end up on someone else's, I think, Snapchat or IG story or Twitter, where he looked like he was out partying. but it turns out he actually did go to a strip club. And funnily enough, though, I believe that strip club in Atlanta is somewhere he frequents.
Yeah.
And he frequents so much that he actually has a menu item named after him for chicken wings.
Oh wow!
So if you look at that strip club's menu, it actually says, I think, Lou Will fried chicken or something. There's a flavor named after him.
Damn, son.
So I believe he's claiming that he was there. He actually has said that he was there, and he did tell the NBA that he was there, quote unquote, for a short time, implying that he probably went there for dinner or for lunch. But obviously he got caught up in someone else's partying video or partying story. So it'll be interesting to see, whether they bring down a punishment on him, because he could potentially broken a bunch of their rules or a bunch of their requirements, or whether he just needs extended quarantine. But like you said, it's not going to affect. It's not going to really harm the Clippers.
Yeah.
But quickly going back to the whole Zion situation of him having to leave, having to come back in quarantine. Do you have any concerns? I know there were a few concerns from some of the fans about Zion's. I mean, there was a few conspiracy theorists as well, whether he was healthy, whether he was injured. Interestingly enough, right before he left, there were videos of the Pelicans practicing, and he was involved in them for, I think, the first day or the first few days.
Yeah.
And then I think on the second or third day, people started noticing that they didn't see Zion in a bunch of the Pelicans practice videos, the practice highlights, and they actually ended up coming out and saying that he had leg cramps. So they're starting out.
I heard about that.
I know there's some concerns expressed by Pels fans. Do you have any thoughts on this, or kind of any concerns or any worries?
Nah, I mean, I'm not really too concerned, man. Like, people always just trying to get, like, when it comes to Zion, bro, like, this entire time, ever since we've had him, everyone's just trying to, like, oh, no, he's, you know what I mean? Like, he's not going to be able to perform in the NBA, or he needs to lose weight, all this stuff. Like, I'm not really too concerned. I think we've got a good, like, medical team. We've just got a good, like, organization, right? Like, nowadays. So I think it's all G. Like, what does us being concerned about it really do? You know what I mean? Like, oh, is it going to save the day? You know what I mean? It doesn't really mean anything. If anything, though, what I was going to bring up, though, is, like, unlike the Lou Will situation in terms of the entire, the days he's being quarantined and whatnot, right? If worst case scenario for him, right? What's it called? He misses out on all the seeding games, right? It does not affect the Clippers' chances at all. On the flip side of that, with Zion, because of the reports are so, like, flip flop, we're not too sure. If, let's say, we miss out for the first game, which is versus Utah, that could, really. I mean, we're still gonna get 8th seed, right? But it's just more so for me, like, that could hurt our chances to actually beat Utah, right? And then because the game right after Utah is also versus the Clippers, so if we. I mean, like, worst case scenario, we can drop those 2 games, right? But we won't fully get into, like, the entire schedule. But what I'm trying to say, though, is, like, not having Zion is obviously going to be a big, big impact for our seeding games, as opposed to, like, the Lou Will situation where it does not matter at all.
Yeah, definitely. It could have a potential impact. Obviously, we would have to adjust how we play, and like we said earlier, the kind of minutes and the rotation that we've got and types of players out there. So I think we won't go too in depth into the schedule. I think we'll do that in potentially the next episode.
Yeah.
Sometime coming up this week. But I think that recaps most of the newsworthy items coming out of the past 2 months. It's obviously been a while. Obviously been on that little break, and we gave ourselves that little bit of a episode break. But yeah, I think that just recaps all the important stuff coming out of the NBA restart and the NBA bubble.
I got a random question I want to ask you then. What's it called? So let's imagine that me and you, we're actually in the bubble, right? And we're living in the hotels and everything like that. Let's just say, like, the whole day you've just been training, right? You've been killing it. So think of it with that, right? You're, like, think about how many calories you're burning, right? So you can actually eat whatever you want. That's why I guess, like, if you're giving these guys, like, little peasant dog food kind of stuff, right? It's not really doing anything because they've already burnt, like, 5 days worth of calories, right? So, it's like, what I'm trying to ask you, though, right, is me and you, we're meeting up in the bubble. It's like, yo, James, yo, Ryan, what's up? And we're like, yo, let's meet up for, let's say, dinner, right? What do you want to get? Like, what do we want to have? Room service, fresh. Okay, obviously we're gonna get a couple of beers, right? Yeah, maybe a bit of soju if I can convince you.
Man, that's a tough question.
Okay, but what's, like, the main kind of, what's the food? You know what I mean? Because we actually met up, me and you, for the first time in person, for the first time in, like, what, 4 months or something like that, right? Just the other weekend, right? So we had some, Korean food, I think, that day. So I'm asking you now, what would you want to meet up? Like, like a whole day of just, working out, killing it, getting dunked on by Zion and shit. You're like, bro, my ego's all fucked up now. What do you want to eat? What are we meeting up to eat, son?
Does it have to be realistic within the bubble and what I think is going to be in Disney World? Or can it just be
No,
anything?
no. It's just anything you want, room service. Let's get it going, son.
Anything?
What we eating? Yeah, what we eating?
I'm eating Korean barbecue. That's what I'm picking.
Oh, all right. So you still want to get some of that Korean food?
Yo, I'd get buffet Korean barbecue. That's what I would want. I mean, I believe buffets are all...
Yeah, true. You would get a bunch of protein from that.
I think buffets are all paused in America because they're super spreaders. But I mean, Korean barbecue would be my pick for sure. Otherwise, I just go for burgers. Some sort of something sort of fried and nasty to kind of replenish the calories back up. What about you?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I was for some reason. Oh, because the thing is, me and you haven't been to the States as of just yet, right? But I feel as if the pizzas they're making there, right? It's like on a different level. Like, I mean, depending on the place you go to, right? But you know how some of them are like, nah, bro, Chicago's the place to go, man. Nah, bro, Detroit, we got it. Nah, bro, New York, man. That's where, I really want to try it. That's what I say. So I would really, really like some like really cheesy as fuck pizza. Just give me some like greasy food pizza. Maybe the KFC.
Yo,
KFC.
KFC.
Oh no,
It's just
they
a
got
KFC.
Popeyes. Popeyes. They got Popeyes,
Yeah,
man.
I haven't
had Popeyes. Have you had Popeyes?
I have had Popeyes before.
Where? Oh, in Canada.
No, I had it.
Oh yeah, because you traveled
I
around
had
the
it in
States.
Chicago. But this
Oh, yeah.
this was before they released this chicken sandwich, which
Yeah,
everyone
that
was,
chicken
like, going
sandwich
crazy
thing, yeah.
over. I would definitely want to try that. That would be on my list. Otherwise, I'd also get Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A was so good when I went.
Oh,
That was one of my favorites.
son.
Man,
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Because
Yeah.
no hate, but KFC is not as good outside of Australia. So
Yeah, just so everyone know. Yeah, no, because I know that too. Because like Australia, I'll go very, very quickly. Yeah, like because Australia is like uniquely, we're a rich country, but we're obese as shit. You know what I mean? As obese, if not more obese than America, apparently, right? The thing is though, because of that though, our fast food, so like Macca's and KFC, the quality of it is actually quite decent in comparison to like the rest of the world. But because of that, it's a bit more like expensive, if that makes sense. Okay, like I mean, like our KFC isn't dog shit, is what I'm trying to say. It's actually decent pieces of meat. You get what I'm trying to say?
yeah, no.
As opposed to like, what you're saying in terms of like in America, I know that it is pretty much dog shit, the KFC and everything like that.
Yeah,
But it's so cheap there. That's the thing.
yeah, agreed. So, I mean, if I was picking Australian food, yeah, Korean barbecue, KFC for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we're talking American, definitely I'd really want to try. I've heard so many good things about the Popeyes chicken sandwich, and then Chick-fil-A. Give me some Chick-fil-A. Give me some Five Guys.
Oh,
Man,
some beers, some
yeah,
pizza.
some pizza would be great.
Yo, maybe try get a bit of couple of J's. Oh no, but I mean, Florida probably isn't a legal state though, eh? I mean, all right. By J's, I meant let's just move on to the next topic.
Some New Orleans food. I think some New Orleans food. We definitely got to try.
Oh yeah, dude, that We Dad's ad that he's always showing.
Dude, we definitely got to try some New Orleans food.
Yeah, 100%. That's happening in the next couple of years anyway. So it's OG, baby. All right, but I just wanted to have like a kind of, because specifically today, I'm not eating, like as in I'm fasting today, right? So like I'm talking about this food, I'm like, shit, son. Right?
Man, you're making me hungry, dude.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm like, yo. I'm like, I want to dream about it at least.
We got to do like a what if story one. Sorry, a what if episode or something. Just have all these different scenarios. We can just talk about these different situations.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
Sure,
overall
sure.
that wraps up all the newsworthy items from past 2 months around the league.
Yeah.
So glad to see the NBA back. I think for
Oh, sorry. One last question.
go
question.
for it.
What are your thoughts on Dr. Pepper? I'll ask you
Oh, I'm
first.
not a fan. I'll leave.
I'm not a fan either. I reckon it's so
hate it.
overrated,
I
right?
hate it.
Yeah, what it tastes like medicine,
like
bro. Like,
ass,
what's the
yeah.
point? Yeah, it tastes like ass, and not the good ass. Like a freaking 70-year-old grandma
The
with
metaphorical.
yeah, 70-year-old grandma with like I don't know who shits herself. Has to wear like grandma
Don't go
diabetes
there.
ass.
Don't go there.
It's not nice ass.
Don't need to give me that imagery.
Like, but yeah, I do agree with you. It's definitely overrated. Okay, I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page there. Okay, continue.
Yeah, we'll do another episode of this one day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that wraps it up. We'll check us out. We'll be releasing this on all listening platforms, wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Podcast, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, wherever it is. Check us out on YouTube. Like type in Pelbros. Same thing with Instagram. Definitely jump on the Instagram. I think that's where most people find us.
Yeah, we're blowing up, son.
Shout out to some of the guys that have been engaging with us, have been involved with us with our Pelicans game chat. So we've got a group chat going on.
Oh, but that's like invite only. That's very exclusive.
I was gonna say, if you wanna be involved, you gotta hit us up and let us know.
But you gotta work your way up. You gotta work your way up too. You can't just like rock up, be like, hey, it ain't like that, bro. You gotta work your way up. Let's say that.
Yeah, but shout out to those guys. Shout out to everyone that's been engaging with us. Anything else from you, Ryan?
I don't know. Is what else is there? Zion. All I was gonna say is that we've had the scrimmages so far, but we can talk about that in the next episode, like a full proper recap for that. All I'm gonna say is that okay, one last question. Who? Yeah, it's nothing about the food. Though. I just want to. This is more related. Though. I just want to ask you. So, out of everything that you've seen from the scrimmages so far, who has impressed you the most?
Myself, Frank. Yeah. Frank Jackson.
Frank. Okay.
He's been my go-to guy.
Okay, Frank. The thing is, like today, I watched like half of it, and then like the other half, I was kind of half asleep, to be honest. So I'd say Frank Jackson was good. My personal pick is Noor. All right, so it's pretty much the same kind of thing.
Yeah, well, we'll go through it a bit in depth now, but he wasn't too great in that first game, so
yeah,
it's good that he's shaking off the rust, but yeah.
All right, that's good. Let's end it at that. So yeah, check us out, Pelbros. As per usual, you already know how it is. Lucky number 13, baby, we're killing it. And then we got another episode coming up. We're going to actually have content coming out on a regular basis now, innit?
Yeah, we'll be flying stuff out. It'll be great. Keep in check.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, right? Peace.
Thanks for listening. We out.
All right. Laters.